There we go.
I welcome back, you guys. It is Saturday night, and we are live tonight discussing the NFL and the other things that happened in the NBA this past week. All right, my name is JT.
Is there a game happening sometime today? Is it significant tomorrow? I don't know.
Yeah, we got the Super Bowl going on tomorrow, so yeah, definitely for sure. But as it is Saturday night, it is not. It's very unorthodox for us to be here on a Saturday night. But adulting happens for both of us, and we are live tonight. So I got my co-host here with me. Let's be Frank. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing good. Yeah, for sure. We were supposed to link up earlier this week to do a show, and just as you mentioned, life happens. And I messaged you, I think it was earlier this morning. I said, hey, how about we just do a Saturday show tonight, because we want to still get in before the Super Bowl. This is basically our last chance to do it. And you were like, yeah, let's do it. So here we are a little bit later on Saturday night. So we'll see who comes in and who doesn't. And regardless, we're going to have a great show.
I agree with you 100%. Like I said, when I started this adventure, about 8 months ago when we talked about this adventure, and I was doing my thing, and I was like, this is what I want to do, and I am so glad that we're still continuing to do this and moving forward with this. So let's talk about the Eagles and Chiefs.
Eagles and Chiefs. Yes. Yeah, man. Okay. Well, my bracket was blown up a long time ago.
It was, yes.
It was supposed to be Bills and I think Niners, or I think my dream matchup was Bills versus Bucks. Is I think how I had it laid up.
Yeah, you wanted that Tom Brady magic.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Tom Brady magic that happened was him retiring apparently, but we'll talk a little bit later. We got Eagles Chiefs heading into this Super Bowl, and of course this is the third time that Patrick Mahomes is going to be in a Super Bowl, and Andy Reid's fourth time being in the Super Bowl, and of course we have the Eagles, just Jalen Hurts' first time, along with his head coach as well. And this is an interesting matchup because we talked about the last time we met, we talked about how the road for the Super Bowl for the Eagles in the playoffs was a little bit less resisting than it was for the Chiefs going into the Super Bowl. And the amount of hurdles that the Chiefs had to overcome in order to be here at this game. I think these last 2 weeks have been good for Patrick Mahomes and the healing that high ankle sprain that he's been dealing with all playoffs ever since the game against the Jaguars, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have the Eagles, who have had a deadly rushing attack, through the season, and they showed that they could win without Jalen, based off of defense and of course their running game. But they're coming up against a Chiefs team that, again, I've been saying this the last couple weeks, that has something to prove. Legacy. We talked about legacy, and we talked about Patrick Mahomes being the face of the NFL. We actually talked about this before the mainstream media was talking about it. And then they started talking about it after we talked about it. We talked about how it was Patrick Mahomes is the face, and why he is the face of the NFL, and why this legacy game is so important for him to be able to win. Because if not, will he continue to be the face of the NFL with another Super Bowl loss? And because he already has one, and you don't want to be a Super Bowl loser, heading to multiple Super Bowls and only having one. I mean, that's great that you get one. I would much rather have one Super Bowl victory than having one Super Bowl victory and 3 Super Bowl losses. I mean, that's just me. If you're going to go, you want to win.
Right.
And so this matchup is going to be something to really look at. Again, being played in Arizona. So in a dome. So there's not going to be any weather factors or anything like that. The only thing that I can see is Jalen Hurts ready to perform at this on this stage, and is he going to be able to overcome the amount of nerves that come with a game like this? It reminds me of Donovan McNabb at his first Super Bowl. Remember, he was like throwing up in the huddle. That's what T.O. at least allegedly said.
Allegedly,
yeah, allegedly. Well, he did say that he allegedly threw up inside the huddle, and a lot of people talked about that as well. Whether that happened or not is something to think about. But with that going on, is he going to be able to raise up, and what's it going to look like? So for me, after looking at all this stuff, I'm writing Chiefs all the way.
All the way.
All the way. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a close game. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But I do believe that Chiefs win by 10.
By 10.
By 10. And they'll be up by like a touchdown. They'll end up getting a field goal to ice the game. And so that's what I see. It's not going to be high scoring. I think it'll be 24-14.
24-14. Okay. So let's go back a second real quick. All right. Let's start with the AFC first. All right. Let's start with the Chiefs. Okay. So you definitely hit a great point, which was we talked about legacy, last week. Mainstream media picked it up. How did that make you feel knowing that the mainstream media picked up kind of what we had talked about the night before?
It didn't make me feel anything outside of that. I know when we are talking, we don't need the mainstream media to validate what we're saying. But it does give a little bit of weight to show people, hey, they're ahead of the curve on what a lot of stuff that is being said, and that's something that we should look at and say, hey, we're what we do, and we're not even paid professionals to do this. We're not right. We're not even getting paid to do this.
That's a fact.
And I'm not swamped into sports all day long like all these other people who do it for a living. I do it off of an offshoot, almost like even less than a hobby. I do it just for this show that we come together once a week to talk about. And so when they come across the story they come across the storyline that we've already picked up on, I'm like, yeah, duh. I mean, this is easy to do when you filter out all of the garbage that they try to interject into what we see in sports.
So a lot of people have talked about like Patrick Mahomes and how he's never played a road playoff game ever, except for Super Bowl, obviously, because it's a neutral site. Do you feel like he's having the same success that Tom Brady experienced at an early part, but just with a better head coach?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think, being able to dominate your division and even conference to where you have home field advantage is crucial and huge. That just shows you the testament of the seriousness that they take the regular season with, and knowing that they're going to set themselves up for a good playoff run, and it has to go through their stadium.
So with that, and like you talked about Super Bowl victories, and we know how like Jim Kelly, went to 4 Super Bowls and didn't win any. Dan Marino had the same type of that success as well too. With the Chiefs going back to Super Bowl again, that they are currently right now, and they are not favored to win, as we both know this, and as the betting spreads are
and all the polls I see online, they have like the Eagles winning.
So, I mean, you're right. So with Patrick Mahomes and the great Andy Reid has done, do you think with that there that they'll be able to overcome, and you don't think the lights will be too big for them compared to the Eagles? Because, I mean, there's only a couple players from the original Super Bowl team that are still on that roster still.
Leadership matters, and going somewhere matters. And the experience that those leaders have matters. And I think that will be enough to calm the rest of the team down, to get them to focus in. And because Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Frank Clark, they've been there. They know what's expected. They're going to come in with a mentality prepared to win the game, and that's going to rub off on the players that have never been there. And I think that's a huge thing. That's why we talked about your head coach in Jacksonville, why his experience mattered, and why his story mattered, and how he was able to change culture in that locker room because he knows what winning culture looks like and why that matters. And so that for me, that experience that the Chiefs are going to carry into this Super Bowl matters so much more in that locker room, and getting those players focused in and zeroed in on what they're going to prepare to do on Sunday.
Okay. I think Kansas City, as I watched Kansas City, they played Jacksonville twice, obviously, and just seeing how if you somehow have an advantage on Kansas City, you can't let up. Like you have to
you have to finish them.
Yeah, you can't give no let up, and or you can't give free plays away. And I think
the Bengals experienced that.
Yes.
And so did the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Unfortunately, we did.
Right? Kind of like the coach of the Cardinals, Denny Green. We'd let him get away, right?
Right. So, I mean, with Kansas City in that instance there, I think Andy Reid. So if Andy Reid wins 2 more Super Bowls, I think he retires.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because I feel like with Andy and Patrick Mahomes and Kels, I think if Andy Reid leaves, I think they're gonna just. It's hard to say that they would retire, but I don't see them wanting. It's hard to replicate that type of success, especially when you've experienced it at such an early age of your career.
How many? What's the contract on Doug Peterson in Jacksonville?
he's got a 5-year deal. All right, he's got a 5-year deal.
Maybe but Andy Reid retires in 3 years, and now guess who's a free agent?
That as much as you say that, that's not even out of the question if you think about it. I mean, that's a good way to look at it.
Why not? Why would you not want to replace Andy Reid with an Andy Reid protege?
I mean, you're right. So, I mean, that's
I hope that doesn't happen to you. I'm just saying.
I would be super sad if that did happen, but I mean, it's the NFL, man. It's any time. So, I think I would love for Patrick Mahomes to win, but I think
you're going to Eagles.
Yeah, I'm fly Eagles fly, I guess.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
I think it's going to be a close game, though. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game. I think it's going to be a super close game, but I think there's going to be a couple key plays that will matter. And so let's flip over to the Eagles now. A
couple things we need to look at, especially in this game. During the San Francisco game, there was the right tackle. It might have been the right tackle for the Eagles. Had numerous no calls on his false starts. If you remembered in that game, there was a lot of missed calls on that game on him false starting before the play.
Yes.
So that would be something interesting to watch. Is he going to be able to get away with that? Because they're with Frank Clark. Frank Clark's on the defensive line, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
With him on the defensive line, does he cause him to jump and cost the Eagles some plays? And then also look at possibly the over aggressive Eagle defense. Do they give up a big play because of their over aggressiveness and Patrick Mahomes' ability to be able to make plays when under pressure?
So with that, depending on how Patrick Mahomes feels, he's going to lay that all on the line, just like we saw against the Bengals. He mustered up that strength and that big portion of his not wanting to move side to side a lot. And, he took off for that 10 to 15-yard gain to set him up.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they get to him early, man, it could be bad. I don't count Patrick Mahomes out, but that Eagles defense is no joke.
Yeah, but don't you think that Andy Reid is going to prepare for that, though? Do you not think that there is a scheme that Andy Reid's going to have dump-offs, screens? He's going to have the West Coast 5-yard inside rushes coming out of the backfield and stuff like that, quick slants. Don't you think that he would work something to neutralize these rushes, even draws to neutralize something like that? I think Andy Reid is a brilliant offensive mind. and I believe he would have wrinkles in that offense, either to add extra protection, double tight end packages, bringing in a fullback, things like that to help counteract that pressure and make that defense less aggressive, especially if they're able to get a bubble screen, if they're able to get a quick slant that turns into big yardage where they have to, okay, we got to play off a little bit now.
No, I think you hit it perfectly, just due to the fact because, Doug Peterson did the same thing with Trevor Lawrence, definitely, using those bubble screens, using those in and outs, and using those quick slants, and just using those running backs a lot, especially when you got those running backs that can catch the ball on the backfield and turn it up. I think Kansas City is really good with that. I think with that portion there, I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, Andy Reid can drop a lot of plays and make it look easy. I mean, just look at the ring around the rosy play he did, just the other game. And he believes that his players are the ones that instill that, hey, we're going to call this play. And, and if you look at like what Doug Peterson did, the Philly special, that's so memorable due to the fact because, Nick Foles said, hey, Philly. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And we've seen that from the Andy Reid coaching tree that, he doesn't discourage his players to, if they see something that he's not seeing, that, hey, go ahead and call that play. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence did the same thing against Baltimore when they went for 2. He wasn't going to go for 2. He said, hey, coach, we're going for 2. And he said, all right, go ahead. And he hit Zay Jones with that quick slant. And they end up winning that game.
Right.
So I think with that says a lot about him and how he's able to build that confidence into his team that bleeds in to say, hey, no play is off the table.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Just that first quarter is going to tell a lot.
I think really the third quarter. I'm going to go third quarter.
Well, the first quarter, as far as the tempo and and them feeling each other out, but that's what typically the first quarter most Super Bowls happen is that unless you get a couple of good plays. And what that reminds me of is the Seahawks and Denver Bronco Super Bowl where they returned the first the kickoff for a touchdown, and then it's just all downhill for Peyton Manning and the Colts after that. So
that was rough. I mean, it's like the same thing with the Bears. When the Bears went to the Super Bowl, Devin Hester took it all the way back to, first play of the game, takes it all the way back. Yep. So that was it.
But that was it for the Bears.
You're right. Unfortunately, that was it. And that's all she wrote, unfortunately. But, it is what it is. But I think if someone strikes first and they start to pick up momentum, I think it's going to be a testament if they can stop the bleeding. Mm-hmm. If the moment doesn't get too big for them. And now, mind you, both of these teams here have never trailed in the playoffs. So, and I think Jalen's going to feel some type of way because I think Jalen thinks he should have won the MVP.
Right.
So I think there's still, and now mind you, I remember watching Jalen Hurts when he played for Alabama, and he got benched in the national championship game, and Tua came in, and he ended up winning that game. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Jalen never or ever forgot of that feeling there being pulled during a championship game and wasn't able to finish it.
Right. So yeah, it will be interesting, but you're going with Eagles. I got the Chiefs.
What's your score?
24-10. No. 24-14.
20. Wow, really?
Yeah.
You think Eagles are going to score 2 touchdowns?
Eagles? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You sure?
That's my score.
All right. Can't convince you anymore. I'm going to go 27-20.
27-20.
27-20. Eagles. Jalen Hurts is going to win. He's going to score the winning touchdown off of a broken play scramble and puts it in.
All right. It'll be interesting how this one plays out.
I definitely agree as well myself. Let's talk about, so as we talked about the Eagles, let's talk about Tom Brady.
All right, Tom Brady.
Now, you were on the record.
I was.
You were on the record saying that we would still be talking about Tom Brady come. Oh, Batten says 30. All right. 34-23. All right. We will definitely see you for that. Tom Brady. So you said obviously we were still gonna be talking about Tom Brady come
Training camp.
He has officially put his paperwork in and said, "Hey, I'm gonna retire."
That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean anything. He retired last time.
But he didn't file his paperwork last time.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So Brett Favre filed paperwork, and guess what? He was back.
I mean, you're right. I mean, but then also think about he also told Fox that he wouldn't start till 2024.
Okay.
He's got $325 million contract with Fox.
Did he sign it?
I don't know. I think it's just a verbal offer, I think.
I'm just saying.
So you think there's a possibility he's going to come back?
I just told you I had a gut feeling that we would still be talking about the possibility of him coming back for a team this training camp or preseason, and we would see Tom Brady back in the mix of things. That's what I said. Okay. And that's still possible. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not ruling it out. However, it looks more and more like looks like he might just be staying retired. So, I won't be convinced until after we get past preseason. And once we get past preseason, he obviously won't be playing. Won't be coming.
Well, okay. So just to tackle on to that, as we're talking about quarterbacks, as you know, McCaffrey, it was pretty upset that the San Francisco 49ers and no team was able to carry 3 quarterbacks going into the game. Mm-hmm. Do you think possibly the competitive committee for the NFL will address that coming this offseason?
They need to. Because that's ridiculous. Not being able to carry 3 quarterbacks on your roster if you think you need 3 quarterbacks on your roster for a game. I mean, it should be you don't have to dress all 3 if you don't need to, but to have the option to be able to dress 3 quarterbacks, I think should be available to a head coach.
So if you could say anything to the NFL about that situation, what would you tell them?
Yeah. Why would you restrict a team to be able to dress 3 quarterbacks if they needed to, if they felt like they needed to? That's absolutely ridiculous.
So do you think it really turned?
It does not give anybody an advantage over anybody, but it does give the team options to be able to customize the roster the way they need to run their roster. And especially in a situation where you had you're down to your 3rd string quarterback. I would like to have a couple backups for that quarterback just in case. You never know.
San Francisco's not blessed a quarterback out, unfortunately. As a lifelong San Francisco fan, as you were, seeing your team go down like the way they did, I think that was a pretty big event for the NFL just in general, just showing that like, hey, there can be freak accidents that do happen that possibly, you do need a third quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are reports right now that the Jets are all in on trying to trade for Aaron Rodgers right now.
Why doesn't it surprise me? A Green Bay quarterback going to the Jets.
I mean, Brett Favre did.
I know. Doesn't surprise me. and then he'll be for the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, but that should help. He stays out of trouble.
Yeah. Leave those masseuse alone.
Yes. So,
I don't know. What did they just draft a quarterback?
They did. Zach Wilson.
Yeah. And they're giving up on him already?
Well, no, they said they're going to keep him. But are they?
But what does that do for the confidence of your quarterback you drafted and he's starting? What does that do for the confidence? What does that tell you as a player that, hey, they're looking to go get Aaron Rodgers to play ahead of me?
If any team got Aaron Rodgers, there's no way or no how you can dress it to say, oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to be your mentor.
Yeah. Mentor. Yeah. No.
No, you're sitting behind Aaron Rodgers.
That's it. That's dumb. But the Jets aren't known for an organization of making all great moves. So,
I mean, except for what was his name? The quarterback that predicted he was going to win Super Bowl.
Joe Namath. We're talking about the 1960s. Dude, that was like still like almost a little over 10 years before I was even born.
Jesus. So, as we know, everyone knows that's followed our show. We do Giant Turkey F, and I'm still waiting on my product to come back. We, as we know, as we're transitioning to the NBA, I didn't put a poll up there, you guys. I'm sorry, I was adulting, but I decided to give my Giant Turkey F to LeBron James. You get the F today.
Why does he get the F?
Here's the reason why.
I mean, I can think of plenty of reasons to give him an F.
So we're talking.
Why in particular this week did he get the F?
All right. So as we all know, he broke the NBA all-time scoring record, right? That has been standing for over 40 plus years. We all know that. All right. And he scored he scored the points he needed by third quarter and then didn't play the rest of the game. Anthony Davis was totally checked out during the game. Totally checked out. And then as LeBron James scored the basket to pass Kareem, he sat down the whole time. He didn't get up and cheer for LeBron. He didn't. It kind of almost reminded me of like watching Kobe, not in Kobe's sense, but just like how like all the stars would always come out to watch Kobe. You know, Jack Nicholson, Denzel Washington, all those guys. But that's something historic. Something that
who didn't stand?
Anthony Davis. He's the power forward.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah,
but he didn't stand for what?
He didn't like cheer for LeBron when he like passed the.
I mean, is that
so they're supposed to be best friends. They're supposed to be best friends. He said
I don't know if I can be best friends with a dude that gives up on his team as much as LeBron does. It leaves you out there to hold the bag.
I mean, he did get the bag, and they're represented by the same agent firm. Yep, yeah. Which is Clutch Sports, which is owned by Maverick, which is his buddy. But then also too, he was asked about it during the press conference. He said he was pissed off because he was losing to OKC.
Mm-hmm.
OKC was on a back-to-back. They had lost their previous game. Obviously, if you're a competitor of any type, if somebody decides to break a record or whatever, you don't want to go down as like, oh yeah, they won. No, you want to at least be like, well, at least I beat him in his home turf as he broke the record. So with that being said, what's your thoughts on first off the Jive Turkey F with giving it to LeBron, but then second off, how do you read about the Anthony Davis and the LeBron James situation?
Well, the whole situation with LeBron, I think he does rightfully deserve that F, just for the simple fact that he gave up on his team. He sat there, he got the record, which was great. You've been in the league for like 20 years. You better get the record based off how many points you score and stuff like that. So it wasn't unexpected. But I still don't give him GOAT status because he broke the record. Just because you had longevity in the league, that's great. There's other players, i.e. Michael Jordan, who has way more accolades. And if he played for the exact same amount of time you played and had, all this stuff, I'm sure he would have broke the record way before LeBron broke it. But Jordan wasn't focused on chasing those personal accolades at that part of his career anymore. It was just about getting the championships and continuing to cement his legacy that way, I believe. And what I see here with LeBron, again, achieving that, great, fantastic. Now finish the job. Put away OKC. Don't let them come into your house and beat you after you scored the winning the scoring champion or scoring leading whatever. Why would you sit down and let them win in your house and not expect Anthony Davis to feel some way about that towards you and not want to stand up? Because Anthony Davis knew in the back of his mind that LeBron was going to go ahead and take the rest of the night off. Okay, got my points, guys. Time to pack it in. It's not like we're trying to play for a playoff spot or anything right now and be competitive in the West. No. Go ahead, LeBron. Go ahead. I got this, I guess, to finish off this game. In which, not that I know what Anthony Davis was thinking, but if I was put in the same situation, I'm like, dude, we're not going to finish the game. We're going to go home. What? When I get my 20 points, 25 points a game, and I'm not going to pack it in too? Hey, you got it. I got my points for tonight.
And the crazier part is that you're right, because they're chasing OKC right now, because they're 2.5 games behind OKC for that sixth spot.
You don't give away games. You don't give away games.
Well, they like giving away games, apparently.
Dude. If LeBron was a head coach, he'd be a losing head coach.
You think so?
Yes.
Why?
He doesn't have the killer instinct, man.
He's too nice?
Yeah. He's too nice and then he's too hard at the same time.
You can't be both.
Yeah, you can. You can. You can be a friend and then you can blame that friend for everything that went wrong.
That's not a good teammate.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't be a good head coach either. It'd be like, oh, I drew up the play. That was the best play ever. You guys just suck. You guys can't execute it.
I mean, you're right. And it's funny you say that because I was watching the Miami game last night, and Jimmy Butler ends up scoring the winning basket with like 0.8 seconds left in the game with the slam dunk, and did that. And I thought we were going to lose. We were playing the Raptors last night, and I was like, man, I go, down by 3 with a minute left, and I'm like, well, it's Coach Spo. Like, I love Coach Spo. But I know how Jimmy Butler is. Jimmy Butler doesn't, he's going to play every possession. He's going to do what he's got to do. And he did. He brought us home for that win. So, and I think, and to go back to LeBron real quick, I think LeBron is like being told no, because when he was down in Miami, he was stomping up and down because, they weren't meshing well together. But when Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade all got together and we got a bunch of veterans, things aren't meshing. And so he's jumping up and down like, oh, this is BS. And he went up to go to the Godfather, Pat Riley. And, he's like, I want you to come down and coach. And he's like, no, I'm not. Your coach is down there. Spoelstra. Well, I didn't come to Miami for this. Well, guess what? You're going to go down there and you're going to go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And what did Coach Spo do? He led them to 2 championships. Did we give away one? 100% we did. But I think due to the fact that Pat Riley understood that, hey, players don't run the organization. That's why they're there. That's why that GM position is there, for them to run the organization and get the players they need. Yes, will you give that star player some type of input, but should you bend to the organization to cripple your organization? No, you should never do that. That's a difference between a player and that general manager. Right. Now, do you value what that general manager or what that star player says to that general manager? Yes, that's why you get paid, $40-50 million a year. Mm-hmm. But that GM has to act in the best interest of that organization. And I feel like with LeBron, he wants to have both. He wants to have that influence, get the players that he thinks is what's best for the team when he's looking at only from the player perspective.
Right.
They had the Buddy Hield trade ready to roll, and LeBron and AD said, hey, no, I want Russell Westbrook. And they said, okay, cool, we'll take Russell Westbrook. And that crippled the organization. Now they just got rid of Russell Westbrook finally. But they had to give away that 2027 pick that's unprotected now. But it's not a guarantee it's going to work. And now the West just got 20 times deeper over the past week.
It did. And real quick, I just want to, talking about coaching and stuff and stuff. I coach a little rec team. Me and my son, we coach together, and we have our little rec team. They're 4th to 6th graders, and we've yet to lose the season. We've had 2 wins and we've had 2 ties, so we haven't lost yet. And today we were going into the 4th quarter. We were behind 5 points, and it's a running clock, so 8 minutes goes by. 8 minutes pretty fast. So a 5-point deficit, it could be pretty tough to climb out of. Now, I was very proud of my team of how composed they were heading into that 4th quarter, and being able to win that game 18-16 today. and coming back and winning and settling down. That's because of the practices that we give, telling them not to give up on plays, not to give up. And if you miss a shot, don't let it bother you, because we're going to get it back. We're going to play solid defense, and we're going to work as a team, and everyone's going to play fundamentally. Everybody's going to play within the confines within of how we've laid things out, and we trust them to shoot the ball. There's no stoplights we give these kids to, no, don't shoot there, no, you see what's going on the floor, what we want to run. But if you see something, take the shot. I'm not going to get mad at you for shooting a ball and missing, because you ain't going to score if we don't shoot. And I think when you're able to have that type of coaching and players, where you entrust your players to be able to identify and make playmaking moves on the thing within the confines of some type of a system in basketball, then you can see the confidence build in their gameplay. And, we came back and we won that game today. We were very excited about it, because we're heading in with we're undefeated in the league. So we're pretty excited, riding a little high.
And that's awesome to hear. And I'll share a quick synopsis real quick. So my kid used to play in a 3-on-3 Teddy Dupay basketball league. Everyone knows Teddy Dupay. He is the leading scorer for the state of Florida. He's also, leading scorer for the Gators, University of Florida, as well too. He's put like 7 or 8 people in the NBA. And watching my kid go from, his 6 to 8 week program and seeing just the growth of him from there was amazing. But I always used to tell him, like, hey man, play hard, have fun, and communicate on the court. If you can do those 3 things, everything else will work out for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have those players that it's like, hey man, like, just hold on. And when you tell them just hold on, like, they got to understand, like, hey, yes, that player is probably better than you, but just hold on. Just make it hard for them any possible way you possibly can. And I think that's what helps them when you have that coach and they see you give them that encouragement. I think that makes them want to play harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some big defensive plays today by some of our smaller players that, had no business being able to make those plays, but they did, because we've encouraged them and we've built those confidence in them to be able to do these plays. I remember looking at that player and looked at him as on the bench during a timeout and say, continue to be a pest. Continue to pester them. You are going to frustrate them. You're going to get a ball. And on a crucial possession down on their defense, we were playing defense. On a crucial possession, they shot the ball. The bigger guy rebounded it, and this kid, he's small. But dude, we couldn't see our player. That's how small he was. He was like behind all the other players, and we didn't see the guy go back up with the ball. We knew he had tied up the ball to cause a jump ball, which is just possession change.
Yep.
And
that's all you need sometimes.
And dude, that was a huge play, because of that play, we go down. At that point, we were tied. We go down. We hit a 3-pointer. What's
6 seconds left?
Yeah, with 6 seconds left, we hit a 3-pointer, and we take a 3-point lead. But unfortunately, we fouled on the way back down. They were a little over. I told them not to foul. I said, don't foul. But don't give him a clean shot either. And they fouled him, but thankfully he missed the first free throw, which sealed the win. So, but yeah, that's a huge role. I told him how important that play was after the game. I said, that was a huge play that you made. I said, I know a lot of this stuff doesn't show up on the stat sheet. I said, but that doesn't happen. We don't go back down and hit that 3-pointer probably.
Always. No, you're 100% right. I want to discuss the new scoring champion that we have in the NBA, which is LeBron James, now that passed Kareem. Now, a lot of people say that he's got 4 rings. He is the scoring champion. He's like 4th in assist. You've been watching the NBA a lot longer than I have. Is he in the GOAT status yet? Is he on GOAT Mountain?
No.
Not.
No. No. And I at this point, maybe not. No, because when you look at the body of work of a Michael Jordan, we're going to compare Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Look how many years Michael Jordan played.
15.
What did he accomplish in those 15 years? 6 championships, never lost in the finals, multiple MVPs, defensive player, offensive player, rookie of the year. You just start adding up all the accolades,
scoring champion,
stuff like that. And he played 15 years in an era where obviously they took a toll on their body with how much physical basketball was in that era that he played. Even toward the end of the 90s when he was it was still a physical era. Even into the early 2000s it was still a physical era, right? Because I remember the rise of the Pistons in that early 2000s. They were a very physical team.
Yes, they were.
So were the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, they were a very physical team. The Lakers with Kobe Bryant, again, very physical. And then we see this change of league, I want to say in the 2010 on, where it becomes more of a you looked at their player too hard, that's a foul now type of league. So it's a two different leagues that LeBron and Jordan played in, and I don't believe that and again, you look at, I want to go back to just his killer instinct. He doesn't have a killer instinct. He gives up on his team. You look at Kobe Bryant, you look at Michael Jordan, those two don't give up on their teams. You look at Larry Bird, he doesn't give up on his team. You look at Isaiah Thomas, he doesn't give up on his team. How many times have you looked over and you see LeBron giving up on his team?
You just did the other day.
Dude, seriously, I can't not give him the GOAT status. I know my opinion is it's worth a hill of beans. However, I think a lot of people feel that same way when you're trying to compare these two and say, no, the GOAT status still goes to Jordan.
So, and a lot of people think like, oh, well, he has 6 championships. And it's like, okay, yes, I understand Bill Russell has 11 championships. Yes, I understand Magic Johnson has 5 championships. Obviously, he had to retire early because of the HIV/AIDS. Yes, I understand that, there are players that have, other accolades. But if we look at the overall body of work Jordan did, a lot of people said he quit basketball twice. Obviously Jerry Krause told that whole team in '98, and as everyone knows at the Last Dance, he wasn't bringing back Phil Jackson.
Right.
And
Jordan wasn't returning without Phil Jackson.
Right, and he made that very public, and it was very exhausting. I mean, think about how much work Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson had to do to keep that team together. Because, if you think about it, as we all love Scottie Pippen, I mean, there were still some issues between Scottie and Jordan on a couple of things. And, I don't think Jordan still forgave Scottie Pippen for sitting out on that last possession in the semifinals when they could have closed that series up a lot earlier. But he still talks to him, obviously. And that portion there, people were like, well, Jordan didn't beat as many Hall of Famers as LeBron James. But that's neither here nor there. Like, I feel like we're just cutting
those are
slices.
worthless stats. I hate those stats.
And it's just like, I saw a stat. It was like early this week, and it was like Jordan could have averaged like 0.7 points for the next like 5 years or something like that, and he would have had the scoring champ. But no one talks about Jordan's 1988. Where he averaged 38 points a game. For 82 games.
Yeah. And don't forget a full season that he missed as well with a broken foot.
Yes. And they had to minute manage him going into that next year. So with that, and then seeing Kobe Bryant, do the same thing that kind of Jordan did, I think that was good for the league. I believe that was good for the generation between, your generation and my generation, being able to see Kobe, win 5 titles, and I did get to see those. But it's hard to put LeBron James in that context of, okay, he's the GOAT. Because if you really think about it, you have 4 rings. Okay, that's cool. But who else has 4 rings? Currently, right now, that's still playing the NBA. Curry does. Draymond Green does.
Klay Thompson.
Iguodala. I mean, Kawhi. So when you talk about dominance,
all in his era too, and they did it with less trips to the finals.
Yes, and when you talk about dominance, we talked about this dominance, and when you have dominance, nobody else should win a ring.
No.
If you're that dominant in the league, yes, you made it out of the East or the West or wherever you played at, but did you finish the job and win? They're like, oh, well, he didn't beat the greatest team ever assembled. What do you mean? Yes, you beat, the 72-10 record. Yes, I get it, but you didn't win the championship.
You didn't finish
it. So what does that mean?
Yeah. Just like the Patriots when they were 16-0 or 17-0.
Yeah.
Did they finish that last game? No, they didn't.
Eli won. Yes.
Yeah. And that season will always be remembered as them not being able to go and have the greatest season ever.
Yes, and they snuck into the playoffs. Remember, they were a wild card. They didn't have a winning record either.
Mm-mm.
And they snuck in and ran the table. So I think with that, I just don't see it, man. I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't. I wouldn't say. Is he a great basketball player? Absolutely. Has he had some great accomplishments? Yes, I won't take that away. Is he a basketball player that has changed the way basketball has been played? Yes, all those things. Yes. However, is he the greatest ever? No.
And I think you said a key point, which is he's changed the way basketball does things nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
He has that influence, which is cool. I think the NBA does evolve, and obviously with Stern stepping down and
Silva
stepping in, I think that's going to change obviously as those things go. I want to hit. We're going to go bold predictions and then NBA trading deadline. So let's talk about a couple bold predictions that we had over the past week. Obviously Sean Payton going to the Denver Broncos, like we had hammered since it started. I'm not sure if you were able to catch his interview, at least his press conference interview. No. So he talked about. So I'm gonna tell you just I'll synopsis it for you. Not putting any words in Sean Payton's mouth or anything like that, or misrepresenting what he said. But talked about good discipline and good more the story is about structure and discipline and how we practice and how we play and how we review things. Everything's done a certain way. Now, here was something that did come out that nobody was discussing, which was Russell Wilson had his own quarterback coach, not hired by the Denver Broncos. So an independent coach coaching him in the Denver Broncos organization. Now, the funny part about this is obviously this was before the Walmart owners bought the Denver Broncos over the past season. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Russ has some type of cachet. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's worth $250 million. Da, da, da. Yeah, that was the old ownership that signed you that contract. You have a new ownership now. They expect you to kind of fall in line and say, hey, dude, like, you are not above anybody in this organization. You are not above the head coach. You shouldn't have an office. You shouldn't have multiple parking spots. Like, why do you have multiple parking spots, first off? And then why do you have an office when you have a locker room for players?
Mm-hmm.
Offices aren't for players.
Right.
Well, I mean, what's your thoughts on just the whole Denver Broncos situation and with the new ownership?
I think with new ownership and with the hire of Sean Payton, I think that will probably come to an end with Russell Wilson. I think he will fall in line. And I think that it will be for the betterment of Russell Wilson that he will. Because all of that other stuff, it really kind of separates you from the team, right? It separates you from your other players around you. Where's the trust level? Where's the camaraderie? And how are you going to be able to lead these individuals if you're not willing to even be in the trenches with them, even, eating lunch tables or et cetera, and showing that you are the leader of the team. And so I think Sean Payton will recognize that. I think he will rectify some of this stuff, and bring Russell Wilson under his wing like he did with Drew Brees, and really revive his career. And this is something I talked about before on one of our podcasts, is that look for Russell Wilson to have a big year next year. It's something I had predicted earlier this year, that he will have a big year next year because of what Sean Payton will bring to the table and how the coaching system will operate and how they will add structure to a team that did not have very much structure last year. And we will see the betterment of this. It goes right back to talking about Peterson and talking about Andy Reid and stuff like that. Coaches didn't know how to win and how to create a culture of winning.
So you're saying that he's going to fall in line. Now, the only thing is I hope that Russell Wilson understands the type of division he's in.
Yeah, very competitive. We talked about this division many times.
I would say it's probably one of the most stacked divisions next to the Cincinnati Bengals division.
Mm-hmm. The AFC North.
Yes, AFC North. Yeah, I didn't know which division it was. The AFC North. So what would be your bold prediction, I guess, for Denver?
Denver makes playoffs.
Okay.
And we'll see. The bold prediction is they make the playoffs and they actually challenge Kansas City next year in that. Okay.
I'm gonna have a follow-up question for you. Eric Bieniemy, as we all know who he is. He's the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City. He's had over 15 interviews for a head coaching position and hasn't gotten a job. Do you believe the fact of him having Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid there, do you think that takes away from his?
Yeah. I think it does, because other teams will look at that and say, well, you got Andy Reid who, helped with the play calling. And then you got Patrick Mahomes, which is one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league.
So there's talks that he has interviewed for the Ravens offensive coordinator position. Okay.
Why would you want to go to the Ravens though if you're on a Super Bowl team? Why would you're not going to be the head coach there? Why would you even consider going? I wouldn't stay there in Kansas City
and win Super Bowls instead.
Yeah. Why would I want to go into a whole different organization that has a whole different type of culture there when I know what I'm getting in Kansas City? If I'm not going to be the head coach, then why am I going to go? Why am I taking a lateral position?
If you're at the beginning,
outside of maybe I get more authority over the play calls than I do in Kansas City, I guess.
So with that, if you're at the Bieniemy, would you take another head coaching? I'm going to call it audition.
Would I go on another head coaching interview, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Because you've already interviewed 15 times. How have you not gotten the job?
16th of one's term. I don't know.
So you would go?
I would go. Yeah.
Why
not?
No.
What's the worst they're going to tell me? No.
Yeah.
I already got a cushy job there in Kansas City. The only other way is to go up. So, yeah, no, I got to take a coaching job. Yeah. We got about what here? We got about 6 minutes left. What else do we got?
Yeah, we do. All right. Trading deadline. NBA. We just finished up, obviously. All right. Two biggest things that happened. Kevin Durant went to the Suns.
Okay.
They went from being 13th best odds to the third best odds to win the NBA championship. As we all know, the West is kind of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see them coming out of the West, or do you see Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic being able to get together and run the table?
It's all going to depend on which team can figure out how to operate with each other first, and how to develop that chemistry. I think, isn't Jason Kidd the head coach for Dallas Mavericks? Did he get fired?
No, he did.
Oh, he did get fired. Frank D'Amato here. He's like, I think he got fired.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would give the edge to the Suns Just
Really?
because. Okay. This is why I would give the edge to the Suns to make the run for the finals this year. It's because they've been there. The head coach is still the same. You still have
Monty
Chris
Williams.
Paul. You still have Devin Booker, and now you add Kevin Durant to this thing. Kevin Durant has shown that he's able to integrate in teams very well with already established head coaches and players, and to be able to figure out where his role is in that. And I see them being able to figure out quicker than Dallas is, because Donka down there in Dallas is the prime time. He's it, man. The offense goes through him.
Yeah, it goes through Luka. Of course it does.
It does, right? And in Phoenix, the head coach there is as much, been to the NBA finals already, right? Had a 2-0 lead against the Bucks in that final. So they understand they were missing a part. Who did they have to match up against
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. Who did they have to match up? Not really. There was a big mismatch there. Now you add Kevin Durant. Now, remember how much trouble the Bucks had against the New Jersey Nets in that championship run that they had, right? Went to Game 7. And then they didn't have Giannis in that last game, and Middleton had to step up and carry that team.
He did, though.
He did. And so I see the Phoenix Suns coming out of the West now because of the addition of Kevin Durant on that team, and the coach Monty Williams being able to control that locker room, control the culture, and get them focused on that championship, and saying to the other players, this is the missing piece we're missing. Let's go win a championship. Because
they're all in, and on top of that, he's got 3 years left on that new contract he just signed. Yeah. So I mean, it is nothing but on. When I woke up the next morning, I saw that Kevin Durant was traded to Phoenix. I was like, that's Phoenix's way of saying, hey, we're all in. We need to win now.
Yep.
And I think they did it right. I'm really sad at New Jersey of not sticking to their guns and saying, Kevin Durant, we don't have to trade you. I wish a team, and this is just me, I just wish I would finally see a team stand up to a superstar and say, you just signed this new deal, bro. I'm not trading you. I don't care what you do.
Yeah. R.I.P. New Jersey or Brooklyn or whatever day.
Yeah, Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. Brooklyn.
Like, dude, they had Kevin Durant. They had Kyrie Irving. They had James Harden.
But you know what? They had individuals.
They didn't have a coach. I mean, they had Steve Nash. Steve Nash was a rookie head coach, though, unfortunately. If they would have had...
Big egos, man. Big egos.
I mean, Eric Spoelstra had no issue.
But that's different. He figured it out. I guess Steve Nash couldn't. So
I mean, you're right. I mean, and the weird part is he's not a player.
But what helped with the Miami coach is that he had an established leader on that team, which was Dwayne Wade.
Of course, he was already a champion. Him and Udonis Haslem.
He understood what was going to be needed to win another championship, and adding this additional roles. Dwayne Wade knew he had the backing of his head coach, and how he was going to be able to help integrate the new players that were coming in. New Jersey or Brooklyn didn't have that.
I think you're right. I think you hit that on the head. I just wish that I would love to see a team just stand up to it. Stand up. Like, why do they give these players so much power? And they just like, if I was the GM, I'd probably be fired. But that's because I tell them, like, hey, bro, you just signed this new contract. You think you're going somewhere? Nah, player. You better go downstairs and go figure out how to win these basketball games. Because they end up getting a decent draft or trades for Kyrie Irving. And so the team thought that, like, all right, hey, we'll build around Kevin Durant. We got him for another 3 more years, and we'll go from there. And I guess Kevin Durant, went upstairs quietly and said, hey, trade me.
Yep.
And I just wish they would have said no. What is so hard to say no?
Apparently, it's too hard for these billionaires to say no to these millionaire players.
But you're a billionaire with a B.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. So,
all right. Well, there we have it, you guys. You got our Super Bowl picks. You got our Drive Turkey F. You got our bold predictions. You got our Tom Brady retirement spill. LeBron James is new scoring champion in the NBA. And our thoughts on the NBA trading deadline. Let's be frank. Where can they find you one last time?
Check me out over on Let's Be Frank Culture. I got to start putting videos up again over there. I always forget. Anyway, check me over there. Currently, I'm working on some stuff right now on my other. I have 3 channels. I'm working some stuff over there on my other channel due to monetization issues on my main channel. So my focus has been kind of shifted, rightfully so, to continue to try to make a living.
Yep, definitely. So,
but anyway, so I do appreciate you having me on, talking some sports, and I look forward to coming back next week and doing it all over again.
Yes. All right, you guys. Well, hey, we do appreciate it. I'm your host, JT, and with my co-host, Let's Be Frank, we appreciate it. You guys watch the Super Bowl. Let us know. Like, share, hit that subscribe button.